well before. There is the Nidalee ban as well that we were just talking about, taken away from Freddy. On the other side, Zilean, which is a champion, which of course we've seen run in the middle lane as of late. We've also seen Jree back in the spring split, even running as support. Yasuo also taken away.
So something I want to highlight, in terms of assassin mids, Fizz is still up and available, was up and available, and Kerp is a champion, a player that loves to run assassin champions. So, okay, Millenium, the team that has banned Kassadin on blue side more than any other team in North America or Europe, has first picked Kassadin. The theory, the myth, the story was Kerp didn't know how to play it. We're going to see how he handles it.
We're going to see how well he plays it because, as you said, blue bans consistently. In fact, they did it just last week in their first match of the week against the Copenhagen Wolves. Banned it on the blue side. Today, they first pick it as it was left open for SK. Maybe they've taken a gamble and said, let the Kassadin go. If they pick it, we can counter it. Either way, they've picked Aatrox here and Gragas. Okay,
so two things. Number one, we may also even see a top lane Kassadin. It has been done in the past. It has been built tanky, you know, with the Frozen Fist, for example, and moving forward. On the side of Aatrox and Gragas, that could still be a top lane Aatrox and mid lane Gragas. It's not completely unheard of in Europe, at least. And we've seen a lot of players getting lots of ability power in the very late game and still having the ability to insta-give somebody at a lower HP. On the same token, it could be jungle Aatrox, it could be jungle Gragas. There are some question marks, and we need to see how the rest of picks and bans go to decide where those roles are locked in. Elise would obviously signal that's going to be your jungle champion.
So, slight change here on the Millenium side. Creaton, we mentioned earlier, 4 games back-to-back with the Corki. Will be running Tristana here. They also get Elise in, which is a big one for me on Kottenx. He's made big plays for them this season on that champion.
Yeah, and the thing is, Kottenx is just very mechanically sound. Last week, he actually secured that Baron with the LCS big play. You know, jumping out, knocking, I think it was Broken Shot away before dashing back into the pit and smiting. So Kottenx has got the mechanical skill. You've got a mobile champion in Elise, you've got a mobile champion in Kassadin. We just seen in the previous game, Woolite picked a Kog'Maw into a Fizz and a Rengar, and while he wasn't punished quite as hard as maybe Fnatic were hoping, you've got a similar situation here. There's not a whole lot of peel and protection for this Kog'Maw yet. A Thresh might resolve that problem, but for the time being, Tristana with Rocket Jump, Leona with Solar Flare, Elise and Kassadin, those are multiple champions that can find their way onto a squishy Kog'Maw if they so desire.
And I tell you what, Millenium, we've talked about it many a time, that they love these teams. #1 pick comps and comps where they can just dive all in onto teams. And this is one of them if I've ever seen one. Leona to jump in there. You've got Maokai locked in. Kassadin's going to be diving in alongside Lee Sin. For me, this composition just screams strength for Millenium. We obviously need to see how well Kerp can actually play Kassadin since they have been banning it away.
There is a massive problem on the side of Millenium's squad, though, is their lack of safe wave clear. They are very reliant on Creaton using his long-range auto attacks, maybe the saplings as well from what I assume is going to be a top lane Maokai. But if they are ever put into a siege position, Kog'Maw with Bioarcane Barrage and Gragas zoning people out with those barrels might make Millenium's life very difficult. But on the same token, if they're playing aggressive enough, they can simply counter a siege by throwing themselves all in. Every single one of Millenium's members has some movement ability to either engage or disengage. And with SK Gaming sort of rounding out their comp and having a fair amount of everything, that's going to be support Gragas instead after seeing that one early locked in. So on the side of SK, you've got an assassin mid, you've got magic damage, you've got mixed damage from Kog'Maw, physical damage from Aatrox. If they put themselves into a split push position, Aatrox and Ahri can do a lot of work, and we talked about disengage and protection. If nRated misses an explosive cask, SK will lose a team fight. Millenium are going to get on the targets they want to, and there is so much pressure on, you know, SK's, I don't want to use the word captain, but definitely one of the spokespeople for SK was nRated's involvement in the spring split that helped them level up their game, and it's going to be his involvement in this game that will help them keep Millenium off his teammates, because if he misses, that's it, it's tickets.
Well, I wonder if this pick, the support Gragas, actually plays into what Millenium was saying earlier, that they know what SK are going to do. We'll find out. But guys, we want to know who you think has the advantage with these particular lineups. Tweet #MILWin or #SKWin to @LOL Esports as usual. And we'll see later who you think came out ahead. Of course, Millenium were the favorites from the LOLesports.com vote. For me, this composition fits them, but it's somewhat the same as ever for Millenium. If they don't get rolling with it, they're going to struggle.
I would also say SK's comp is also quite reminiscent of Millennium-style comps. If they land a Cocoon, if they land a Charm, the right explosive cask, and you can start picking off members of Millenium fairly efficiently. So if SK have another strong laning phase, like they did against Roccat last week, they have the tools to stay ahead. And we need to see if they can actually handle themselves now on the Rift.
Well, we're going to find out as we get into game here. It's Millenium versus SK Gaming. Halfway into the day, or just a little bit more since we've got 5 games, and that's an odd number. But Millenium here coming off the bat. Yeah, good recovery indeed. Kassadin, I want to point that one out again. We've already talked enough, I think, about how Kerp and the rest of the team have been banning that. Picked here for the first time for him. He's running teleport here as well in the mid lane.
So teleport Kassadin is nothing new, especially in mid. And European players have been doing this a long time. I mean, Peke really helped Fnatic get to the semi-finals at Worlds last year with very similar play. My only question about this game is how SK are going to handle these team fights as the game progresses. They have significantly less hard engage. They are reliant on skill shots, and we've seen how competent Jree is at his Leona engages. On the same token, Millenium are fairly predictable. You can expect them to go aggressive. You can expect them to go all in. So if SK are psychologically reading Millenium correctly, and nRated, lands the barrels, or Jesiz lands some good charms, or Svenskeren with the cocoons, they can end and engage before it's began by blowing up one of the fairly squishy champions in Kottenx, Kerp, or Creaton.
Very interesting game coming our way. Kevin running that top lane Maokai, which has been the focus of a lot of bans here as well today. If mine serves correct, I believe possibly all...
2 bans?
2 bans, okay.
Copenhagen Wolves Fnatic, it went unbanned and unpicked. And this time round was locked up, fairly early on. So Millenium with an invade. We don't have the makings of a lane swap yet for Millenium. But I think this is just going to be an easy buff still. Oh, they don't have vision. This is so much trouble. This is so much trouble.
They're not seeing it. Freddy's going to walk straight in there. This is real bad news for him. Is he going to flash away? He gets his blood well popped. He's got to instant flash. I don't think it's even worth it. First blood comes in for Jree there on Leona. A disastrous start. And it felt like one split second there as he went around the corner and lost the vision.
Completely agree. Absolutely ridiculously close. Freddy stepped out of the bush feeling safe at the exact moment that Millenium stepped into vision. So just unfortunate timing for SK Gaming. And you know what? All credit to Millenium. They had a slightly delayed invade. They were challenging for red. They managed to get the buff and they got the kill, which is just a great, great play. Unfortunately, landed in Jree's hands. But I would like to see if Jree rushes the likes of Boots of Mobility and maybe tries to impact those side lanes, especially if he can try babysit Kerp. Kerp is going to have a difficult time in the 1v1 against Jesiz if Jesiz is playing aggressively with those auto attacks and looking to zone him away because, of course, Kerp is on that melee champion.
Well, if you look at the lanes here, we are seeing that 2v1 in the top lane. In the bottom side of the map, though, Kevin has decided he's going to track himself around the map with Kottenx right for the very get-go. And with this could be real dangerous for Kevin up top. No Bloodwell, did save his flash from that first blood, though, which may be enough to save him. He's put a ward down there as well, which will give him vision of Kottenx and and Kevin coming in. He jumps away.
Yeah, very smart. Kevin was only level 1, and he opted to put a point into his Q, his Arcane Smash, so there was no route available there from Millenium squad. But if Kevin is roaming and playing the buddy system with Kottenx, the threat of those ganks is massive. The crowd control combination between a Maokai and a Leona is huge. Now, SK, let's see how they juggle the aggro if they're going to play that game. Doesn't look like they're going to be dancing back and forth yet. But they've got, obviously, the numbers advantage in the bottom lane. And here's that gank in top lane. Freddy's got flash. Can he get away?
Q's landed here. Kottenx just going out of tower range. There's a jump, though. Good flash from Kottenx. Will make sure that he doesn't get knocked up. But they're all over him once again. And he's going to go low from it. Still as he flashed. He's going to flash away, but the Q was already there. And Kottenx is going to pick up the kill.
So in terms of trades, SK Gaming get Dragon. Millenium get the first tower of the game. They also secure another kill. It lands in Kottenx's hands, not in the carry. So Kevin, still going to be a little bit behind in terms of experience. Freddy's been soaking up a little more lane XP. But Millenium with the first aggressive move, that's also quite reminiscent of how Fnatic play their lane swaps. When they have an AD carry that they want to get a safe lane, farmed, and in a powerful position, they go for the 4v1s top. And this is this roaming death squad we talked about. Maokai, guaranteed lockup, point and click. Follow that up with Leona stun, and all of a sudden you've got more dead SK members.
Well, right now Millenium just taking away that big Wraith, nRated. The decider did spot Millenium moving down from that top lane. We should focus a little bit here on mid because it's been fairly quiet. Kerp has survived these first 5 levels really with the use of that crystalline flask. Not use his teleport here, and that's something that he's obviously going to be using if he gets bullied out of lane to get straight back in there and make sure that he can keep level on farm. Right now, he's bang even. I
would dare say Kerp is going to even try to hold that teleport to impact the side lane. If Creaton and Jree eventually put themselves in a position where they can 2v2 Panda and nRated, you throw a Kerp teleport in there and all of a sudden you've got the makings of a double or triple kill. I do also want to touch on the fact that Creaton with his early CS and assists picked up a Zeal first. Now we have seen static Shiv first item Tristanas before, and that could be where that wave clear comes from. Long range auto attack, wave clear from the Shiv, wave clear from the explosive shot, and that might help Millenium push the waves out as well as defend under towers. But we need to see how Creaton spends the rest of his gold if he is going to go that route.
Well, until now, they have set up this 2 versus 2 now on the bottom side. Panda actually coming out ahead in the CS simply because that bottom lane's had no kind of competition. There is the TP into mid lane from Kerp. He's going to come back in there with the Catalyst. So working up towards his Rod of Ages first. We'll get an extra bit of sustain as he levels himself up. And now Svenskeren, is this going to be about deep vision and then maybe moving to mid? The ward is certainly there. And that bottom lane pushed up, but there's a pink ward in the Tribush which will spot him if he decides to go there.
Yeah, we'll see how Sven continues to play the vision game this match. Up until last week, Sven had the lowest amount of vision placed out of all EU junglers. And in the win against Roccat, it was largely Svenskeren's involvement in placing wards that allowed them to control Jankos. And bonus brownie points to the birthday boy, because you were right, Kerp did teleport back to lane just to stay relevant with CS and not allow Jesiz to push that wave out. Ahri, with the higher ability power on an Orb of Deception, is a much faster wave pusher than Kassadin, especially at these early levels. And it looks like Kassadin is the one that's actually getting some early damage onto Jez's tower, thanks to him backing and obviously not having the teleport to fall back to.
Yeah, we'll be coming back into the lane with the workings of that Chalice. Or the Chalice itself, the workings of the Athenes, of course, which it builds up into later. Also means that we get that 1v1 on the top side of the map as well. Kevin on Maokai versus the Aatrox of Freddy, and we've given praise constantly to Freddy on this Aatrox, and I think Freddy in general done really, really well. It's down in the bottom. We're going to see a bit of a trade. Don't think there's too much danger there. Panda got that level advantage, which has given him a bit of a sting in his shots.
This is actually a pretty difficult lane matchup for Tristana Leona because of the range advantage that Panda and nRated both have together. If you look at the poke, nRated and Panda, Creaton's alone, he's just going to get bursted down here.
Barrel going in. I think Jree just wanting to get a ward inside of the Tribush. Wisely enough, because Svenskeren's there, and that first blood that we were talking about earlier did allow Jree to get into the sight stone a little bit quicker, which means that he can keep replenishing that vision around his bottom lane. Meanwhile, Jesiz going to keep trying to build up more and more farm here by stealing away those wraiths. There's the vote, and actually you guys at home thinking that Millenium have even more of a chance than you voted on LOLesports.com at 71%.
Well, I definitely think the vote might be rooted in the top lane, and it may have something to do with Kassadin once again. You know, he's got a great win-loss ratio in the LCS the few times he's led through. Kassadin is already actually ahead in CS. It's 3, but still counts, in a lane matchup that is very difficult for him. So, tower dive here, possibility from Svenskeren. Panda does have Buster Shot available, and I think Creaton, he needs to play very, very careful.
Yeah, and Svenskeren just is going to sit away from this one, wait for Creaton. TP is going to be coming down as well. Kevin, he's already there. Creaton trying to stay away from the damage, but Freddy will take him. Svenskeren, though, is going to get locked up. There's the repel coming out. It's Freddy that's tanking it. Bloodwell's going to get popped. Svenskeren is low. Can they finish off Freddy? Aggro's actually gone onto Panda. I don't think he saw it here, as he does pop someone a heal. He's got away with it. We'll pop a potion. Now Svenskeren goes back in. They're going to take down Kevin. That was a kill for a kill there as well. And now Freddy trying to get away as Kerp comes around the side to kill Panda. Is he finished with this one? He will be, as he Final 2 men from SK run away, but a messy affair down bottom.
That was a fantastic tower dive from SK Gaming. They actually juggled the tower aggro very, very efficiently. They got the targets they wanted, and once Kevin teleported in, SK even managed to pick a kill off on him before he found one in reply. Had Kerp not used his teleport to go back to lane earlier, that could have even turned the fight around. The very important thing to note is this is a 3v2, which becomes 3v3 and then 4v3. But look at how efficiently SK Gaming managed to dodge and juke around the tower aggro. Sven steps out of it before Freddy re-engages the turret aggro, and obviously once his Bloodwell gets popped, it unfortunately turns over to Candy Panda, which is not the target you really want. And you're 100% right, Joe. I think Candy seen it at the last second. That's single-digit HP. And I just can't stress enough, if Kerp had teleport available, look at those low health targets. Kerp may have been able to do a lot more cleanup. And obviously that is hindsight, which is 2020. And Millenium still ahead on kills, even on gold, and ahead in towers.
Let's have a look where those kills went as well. Kevin got one just before he went down to leave him 1-1-3. There's one there on Kottenx. Kerp, of course, managed to pick one up, and there's one on the support. So everyone except Creaton getting in on the action for SK, one with the top, one with the jungle, and one with the AD carry. Dragon, of course, is live. That was taken first of all by SK Gaming because of the push up by Millenium in the top lane. That's going to be a 3 versus 2. Have they got the damage here? They're actually underneath the tower. Kick comes in. Have they got? They're going to go for Candy Panda. Creaton going pretty low. Elise going to come in as well. Svenskeren chomps down. Where's the cocoon? He lands. Can he finish him up? Oh, the shield. Jree locked him up with the back there as well. And now Kerp's come down. Jesiz is going to follow in as well. And Kerp going low. Will he have the damage to finish him off? Another shield, not enough to save Kerp. And again, it's messy down in the bottom. And it's only a 1-for-1.
But it's SK that come out ahead. Not only do they trade 1-for-1 in kills, but they got Kerp's teleport at the same time, and they should be able to secure this dragon. I think Jesiz deserves a cookie because he was moving down through the river before that fight had even began. By the time Svenskeren had re-engaged or jumped into Millenium, who had committed to Candy Panda and nRated, Jesiz was a few seconds away, and he was there the instant Kerp arrived. So that was very, very good game sense from SK Gaming and from Jesiz in particular to be in the right place to turn that fight around and give SK their second dragon of the game and a healthy gold lead once more.
Well, 12 minutes in, what a crazy one this is. Top lane, of course, couldn't get involved in it this time because the teleports were down from last time. And if we look at the CS, 70 to 56, which Kevin should actually be able to pull back quite nicely with this next wave coming in. Going to be moving to Rod of Ages on his side. First of all, other side looks like Freddy will be going straight in for that Bladed Rune King. I say straight in. He's actually picked up a Negatron cloak just to help him out a little bit with his strength in the lane. Yeah,
and there's a lot of magic damage to worry about, especially once Kerp starts getting involved. But if Freddy ever goes toe-to-toe with Creaton, once Creaton gets some attack damage, that might be scary. But if you look at Creaton's build, he has gone for that static shiv. So in terms of laning power and presence, Candy Panda is going to be putting out more damage. He's got percentage HP on his Bio Arcane. He's going to be able to continue to poke down with that living artillery. And Creaton's got no additional AD to really trade with Candy Panda. So I think we might be seeing Kerp or Kottenx trying to get more involved in that bottom lane and maybe trying to help Creaton through this weaker mid-game phase.
That charm close to landing onto Kerp there. Of course, he has now got that Rod of Ages done, so that's going to be slowly filling up towards max. Svenskeren again. And I think this is the Svenskeren that we were somewhat missing for quite a while, and the SK, more importantly, were missing. He's invading again on the red.
Yes and no. So while it is good that Sven's doing it, there's actually no vision to back up this play. So Svenskeren with good timing and having some damage kills that red buff very quickly, but nobody from Millenium was aware of that. So if Millenium had vision themselves, they may have been able to punish it. And this is something that Sven and SK did more frequently than they should have because they got caught out. Now look at the damage on Kerp. Jesiz does have Spirit Rush if they want to chase him.
No need. Tower is the objective that SK are looking for, and they get it as well. First one of the game for them, and leaves them 2,000 gold in the lead, thanks to mainly those two dragons that they've now had in this matchup as Kottenx is coming up top. They may have a go on Freddy. He's got no tower there behind him. Here is a push in the jump away. They're going to root him, kicking towards the wall. This is a Bloodwell pop, and we'll see if they've got the damage to finish him off. He's going to flash first of all. These Kottenx that's actually going to be pushed away from this one. That's good damage back, and now Svenskeren's coming in as well. This could be disaster for Millenium. There's the damage. First of all, he gets away from the cocoon with the flash, and now Jesiz is coming up to the top lane. Ulti going to be used straight in for Kottenx, and that's another one for Jesiz.
So Jesiz once again with a very, very smart roam. He doesn't have teleport, but he's able to interact with the map and interact with his teammates' side lanes very effectively. The cost is, of course, the damage on that mid tower, and he's losing in CS. 20 behind Kerp. That is about the gold of a single kill. So while Kerp is 1-1-0, because of the CS advantage, effectively, they should be very close on gold. If you actually look at the gold difference between the two players, Kerp 4,800 to 5,100 on Jesiz. It is still very even. And it could come down to Kerp and Jesiz. If they find the right target in teamfights, that could determine the victor. And Sven is looking for Kassadin.
Let's see if he can land the cocoon. Oh, they're going to get the charm onto him. Actually, that's a good jump away from Kerp off to the Wraith Pit, but that leaves now this inner turret in the mid lane completely open. Kottenx is on the bottom side of the Millenium jungle. He's going to come around. Kerp has already started recalling, and that's about a third of the turret's HP gone, just like that.
Yeah, very, very good positional play. Svenskeren roaming from that gank in the top lane all the way down to middle and just punishing Millenium where they don't have their towers available. So for the time being, Millenium are just falling further and further behind. SK have been playing the lanes very effectively, and they've actually dealt with the teleport power of Maokai and Kassadin effectively. But you have to remember that Tristana, Kassadin, and Maokai are not particularly strong in the early game. They shine in the late game. Whereas Aatrox, Jesiz, oh, they're going to jump on Ahri.
Going to jump on Ahri, but Jesiz just using his ultimate. No danger there for him, really.
So Aatrox, Ahri, and Kog'Maw do very well in the laning phase, and yes, they do scale effectively, but you cannot discount the fact that Millenium, if they get 1 or 2 fights with 2 teleports, they can close this gold lead back. For SK, it's going to be about controlling these dragons even more, and look at the numbers in this bottom lane. That's a good amount of damage onto Sven.
Yeah, Svenskeren sticking around. There's Jree throwing down the solar flare, which will lock up too. Kevin's here as well. He's TP'd down from the top lane. Svenskeren's going down. It's Kevin that gets that one. Kottenx having to go at Candy Panda. Surely can't get away. Will he take the kill with him? He won't for now. Is the passive? No, it's not. Jumps off to Kerp, and that will be 2 for 0, just as you predicted.
Now, the thing is, Millenium were not able to get any more objectives from that yet. With the very low death timers and the fact that Dragon was not available, yes, SK have lost 2 kills, but it's by no means a massive swing in power. So Millenium are going to be fairly happy with that trade, but they need to redo that if they want to get Dragon. And here comes Kevin.
Oh, flash in from Kevin, and this is a kill. I can't see Jesiz escaping from it, and Kerp is able to pick up kill number 3 there. Meanwhile, Freddy trying to use the presence in that bottom lane to secure another tower for SK Gaming, which he'll take away with ease in the top lane.
So if you look at how easy it was to lock down Jesiz with that CC, that's a champion with a massive amount of mobility. If Millenium pick the right targets with Maokai, Kassadin, and maybe even Elise in, they can just melt through Candy Panda or Jesiz in those team fights. Chain the CC together. We need to keep an eye on the teleports. Not available for Kevin, is available for Freddy. With Dragon now spawning, Millenium have definitely shown their intent. They don't want to give up the hat-trick to SK this early on, but SK, I don't think they're grouped enough. If they're going to commit, this is going to be very risky. Dragon will be gone already.
Yeah, Jesiz nowhere near that one, and there is the Dragon going down. Solid pickup by Millenium. Are they actually going to go in for this? Svenskeren taking a lot of damage already. Solar Flare was miles away there from Jree. Not sure he really got the angle off that he wanted to. They're chasing off on the bottom side as Kottenx is going to go down. Creaton going to be exhausted. Oh, it's a fail flash into the wall, and nRated gets that, and Kevin will fall as well. And just like that, it's the Dragon for Millenium, but 3 kills for SK.
SK Gaming came in drips and drabs and was split up, but Millenium were not decisive enough. Millenium were hesitant to start that team fight. And look at this, they're in retreat mode. If Millenium had focused a target, that could have gone better. And as you pointed out, Joe, that solar flare caught nobody. So SK Gaming focused the right targets, great exhaust into Creaton, and I think the body slam interrupted his rocket jump, and then the flash just didn't get him far enough. So, Kerp, I think he's teleported in. Can he get some kills off the Baron?
May try to. Jree at least will go down. Freddy's pretty low, but Bloodwell passive is available for him.
This is
Kerp on that top side, and they are going to go straight for him, although the mobility of Kassadin may just say that he gets away from this one. Let's have a look. And yeah, no problem for him really there. Just going to head south, and we'll be able to survive that without any problem. No real chasing. Need to come around to this mid lane though, because it's going to leave Kottenx with a decent little wave to get some damage down. Is Kerp going to join him there as well? You'd imagine so. Actually, we'll rift walk over the top of the wall, and that might be enough damage between them here to get that tower. It is.
So as long as SK Gaming avoid multiple targets being caught by that hard CC, because they've got damage threats between Freddy, Sven, Jesiz, and Candy Panda, once Millenium pile in, if SK pick the right targets, that's how they can survive and win those team fights. Millenium was split up, they didn't focus, and they didn't land that CC efficiently and effectively. And SK Gaming have got a very small lead. When you consider they're 2 dragons up and a Baron, only 3,000 gold at the 20-minute mark does sound a little bit low, but on the same token, SK have been much more effective at dealing with Millenium's aggression and have been playing very aggressively and very proactively themselves. So we need to see how they handle themselves. I would think that if SK wanted to continue to get control, push the side lanes, most likely with Freddy or Jesiz, who have some escapes and have some ability to get away, and then once Millenium focus on one person, they can push down objectives like towers or pushing the lanes.
So some interesting statistics. I mean, this is a 9-8 game at 20 minutes. If you look at their average CS at the 20-minute mark in both wins and losses, they are a considerable amount behind, in some cases 20 to 30 to 40 CS, so showing how much of a high kill game this one is. A lot of map movement going in. That's the tower, and they've managed to knock Jree back in as well. He's going to get taken down before he can even throw his ultimate in there, and that's a great move from SK Gaming. Meanwhile, Freddy's on the bottom lane, split pushing like we gave him credit for earlier. They've caught out Kottenx here as well. Here come the rest of the team though. Kevin's right on the backside. Millenium not very healthy, but it looks like SK gonna try to back away from this one. They've got that Baron buff on, of course. Freddy should have the turret in the bottom lane as well.
Freddy is still pushing, so there's 2 things to note. First of all, nRated did the play perfectly. He zoned away Millenium from the tower, set up the kill onto Jree, who's the primary initiator. While all of this is going on, here comes Jree off the spawn.
Oh, this could be bad. There is Jree getting right into the middle with the Zenith play. Candy Panda going to be blown up. Here comes Freddy though from the side. It's a good knock-up. He's going to get 3 low. Oh, they're all being shattered. And now Kottenx will finally walk away, but the triple kill coming out from Candy Panda means that this right here is surely an inhibitor turret.
There are minions pushing in from the lane and 20-second death timers. nRated played the play perfectly from the mid lane, and Creaton at 20 minutes only just picked up a BF sword. The entirety of the last 20 minutes, Creaton has not had the damage to be relevant or on the same page as Candy Panda. With Candy Panda's triple kill, thanks to the Icathian surprise helping him out at the end, he now has a Trinity Force and a BF sword, Blade of the Ruined King, against only BF sword, pickaxe, static shiv. There is such a gulf in damage between both of these teams' AD carries. And because SK have got a lot more damage in the other lanes, it means even if they focus him down, the other champions can pick up those kills. So, good engage from Jree. He lands a solid solar flare, but Kerp isn't blowing people up instantly. And even though Creaton has got, I don't know, 10, 15 auto attacks off, there's not enough damage. He can't mince through people enough. And that was the great Icathian surprise. Everybody clustered up together. AoE damage is a thing.
It's a big thing. Untargetable as well. Easy stuff. 646 actually leaves Candy Panda at the moment. As you mentioned, has a good lead when it comes to the items. And we've got a minute until the dragon comes up here. I mean, we're only 23 minutes into this game. We've already seen the first Baron go down. We've already seen the first inhibitor go down in that middle lane as well. SK, this is not the SK that we've really been used to, where, you know, the strong first half of this split was a lot about SK Gaming having a mediocre laning phase and making themselves stronger as the game went on and close out in a fairly long average game time. This has been a lot more aggressive from them and a lot more decisive, I'd say, as well.
I completely agree, and I also think Jesiz on Ahri is performing fantastically. Jesiz is not a player we traditionally associate with assassin-style champions, and he's playing Ahri brilliant. His positioning has been good. He's been caught out once by a strong gank, but that's really it. And because SK have done such a good job at keeping Creaton down and reducing the impact of Kassadin, these team fights have all been in SK Gaming's favor. So they're going to continue sieging. Look at super minions in the middle lane. Once they realize Kerp is on the back foot, I think SK may even decide to engage. And once again, nRated with explosive cast. He can set something up if he wants to.
Anyone comes too close, they're back into the team. As we see there, the base is actually being hammered on by super minions. Kerp was called away to deal with that one, and that means that some damage is going to come here on towards that inhibitor. So they've gone out Jree! He does get a solar flare off, but he didn't actually hit anyone. Didn't go down in the end, so he can go back and heal.
But that is a massive, massive component of Millenium's engage. SK Gaming, knowing that solar flare is not available, may play even more aggressively. There's a minute on the clock before Baron is up and Dragon is up. So if SK feel they're uncomfortable with the potential of an engage, oh, they've got Kottenx!
They've got Kottenx, he's dead, no doubt about that one. Kevin, the next target, he's pretty tanky, but they're working through him nicely. Freddy may just well get his blood well popped, but that might not be enough to stop them. Jesiz goes diving on towards Creaton. They're all so low here. One more ulti out. Candy Panda should do it. They're trying to get onto him. They don't in the end, but they kill off Kevin finally on the top side. They can win the game right here.
There's super minions and a lot of damage behind SK. They're on the Nexus turret. I think they've done it, Joe.
25 minutes into the game. Kerp is though going to come diving in and nRated. Going low. They've picked up Jree. They turn back around on towards the base. Nexus turrets are both going down. Creaton has to jump away. Kerp now having to back out of things as well. The kick will keep them alive. Kerp diving in to get another kill, but he's finished off by Jesiz, and now they're left to defend against the super minions coming in as SK back away.
SK are going to get away after securing a bunch of kills and removing all of the threat of those towers. SK have played such a strong game, and if you want to ask how do you deal with Kassadin, how do you beat Kassadin, well, you never give him a chance to scale. This is one of the most dominant performances SK has played in a very, very long time. And it is all stemmed from very aggressive plays in the early game, and I definitely do not think you can discount how impactful Jesiz has been when he roamed to those side lanes. 2 or 3 times at least in the first 20 minutes, 15 minutes rather. He moved to help out either Freddy or Candy Panda, got a bunch of kills, and now with his Void Staff and DFG completed, which he's had for a tiny bit, he's just going to blow up anybody he catches with a charm.
Well, the Baron has now respawned as well. 26 minutes into the game. Jesiz will first get himself a blue before surely heading over to assist the rest of his team in picking that one up. Millenium have a ward there, so they'll see SK moving over towards that position. We'll surely have to try and stop them getting this one, because a Baron buff on this SK team that's already this far ahead, 12,000 gold, just 26 minutes in. That'll be surely too much.
So there is one thing SK needs to be a little careful of. Creaton finally has his Infinity Edge completed. His power spike has been so delayed because of the focus and the pressure put to him in the laning phase. But if he is given time to get multiple auto attacks off, especially against the likes of Candy Panda or Jesiz if they're slightly out of position, they don't have the most amount of armor to deal with his damage. So Kerp is trying to flank from the back line. If Millenium engage and this is done properly, they're just going to lose the game right now.
Kerp poking a little bit there onto Candy Panda. We've seen this time and time. This is Kerp's ideal position. We've seen him do it with Fizz countless times in this split so far. And again, he keeps trying to do that. SK got good wards around that curve though, so they know exactly where Kerp is going to be coming their way from. And I think the safe thing to do here from SK is to back off and move around to Baron. However, again, Kerp's scenario, he'll just head around the back of the Baron pit and maybe jump in to try and steal. We'll have to see about that one though, because SK look like they're going to try and lure them in. There they go. They're going to go for Kottenx. Good damage already onto him. Kerp is at the back as well. Who are they going to go for? They seem a little undecided about this one. It's Kevin that's come around, got himself slowed up. There's Kerp finally coming back. They turn. They kill him off as well. Kottenx will be knocked around. It's a double kill again for Candy Panda. Creaton will try and jump away. Where's the slow? Where's the push coming from the rest of the team? It's Jesiz against another one. And now Jree and Kevin, low health, are backing off towards the base. But I think this might be it. The inhibitor did respawn though. There is Kevin trying to delay them somewhat, but it's now all on the support. It's not going to happen. SK are going to win.
The SK have definitely won this game. Once again, Jree does not connect with the solar flare, and a great performance this match. SK pick up their first win of Super Week.
28 minutes and 25 seconds here. An aggressive SK gaming, showing that whilst they've had struggling times in terms of form, 5 games that they lost on the bounce before they beat Rockout last week, that they've put in the hard work here. They've done the work and practice that they needed to do. This is a scary looking SK that we all want to see.
I completely agree. And I think SK Gaming played the pick and ban phase fairly smart when you look at their play style. They let Kassadin through, and I'm going to assume they let that one through on the assumption that if Kerp was running in the mid lane, they can play aggressively in the other lanes, allow Svenskeren to go aggressive in the jungle, and they can punish the weaker early laning phase of Kassadin by playing aggressively and pushing those other lanes. Kerp had maybe one good teleport to the bottom lane, but it was not impactful enough, and you just didn't feel that threat from Kassadin at all because of how strong and how coordinated SK were.
And earlier on today, QuickShot here running you through a very complicated playoff scenario about who can finish where and what it's going to take for all that to happen. This victory for SK over Millenium means that Millenium can no longer take second position in the table. So that dream is all done and dusted. But of course, there is still the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth positions